All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Real Deal Podcast.
Welcome.
With me, of course, Mr. Cleon Deal, and of course, we have the man himself, Mr.
Brandon Haley, how you guys doing? Welcome back to episode number 12, right?
Number 12, man. We're above average right now.
Episode number 12, man. It's amazing. Thank you guys so much. We are past Christmas at this point in time. Well, we're recording this a little bit before Christmas. So,
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We hope you guys celebrate safely with family and
Always.
with love. And, with any week on the Real Deal Podcast, if there's any crazy current events going on, we want to talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, we're just going to get into it, man.
And, something happened recently, a little bit about something to do with some health care.
Yeah.
A CEO of United Healthcare was assassinated allegedly by a Mr. Luigi Mangione.
Mangione, I believe is how it's pronounced.
Sorry to the Italian people that I mispronounced that last name. Please do not come after
They're
me.
going to get you out of here.
It was an accident.
Yeah.
So, it's a crazy story, and it's so funny that the power of social media, everybody has opinions. And
That's the beauty of it.
some people, I'm like, oh my God, it's so sad. Other people are like making memes. Americans, we can't take anything serious, bro.
Unfortunately.
There's memes like, oh my God, he's so hot. Women only want a guy like him. People, it's just some crazy memes out there.
Very interesting.
I've seen my fair share of people sharing them. But what are your overall thoughts on that incident that happened?
So first and foremost, the guy, Mr. Mangione, apparently is from Maryland.
Oh, I didn't want to say that part.
So
I guess some people from Maryland are a little cuckoo.
come on now. So he's from actually a very financially affluent part of Maryland. Basically, his family apparently is very, very wealthy.
I think he went to Ivy League school.
Wait,
He was a valedictorian. I think he has great background.
Yeah, great background. Apparently, he was written in grandmother's will. She was leaving behind over $30 million to the kids and grandkids. So he comes from a place where he seems like very well taken care of, at least financially. Obviously, you never really know what's going on in the background there. But basically, looking at kind of the history of it, basically what happened is that he was on social media or whatever the case is, and then apparently he just goes missing for 6 months. And none of his family or friends know where he is. And then suddenly, when he pops back out, this is what happened, basically. So nobody hears from him for 6 months, and then suddenly he's a suspect. Allegedly a suspect in this murder.
So, do you think that he did it, or do you think that you're going with the conspiracy theories on this one? Because then there's a conspiracy theory, and this is what got me because, it showed the guy who killed the killer. It showed him and with his mask off, and his eyebrows are well done. But then 6 days later, Luigi gets arrested, and his eyebrows he almost has a unibrow. So it's like,
You don't think it grows in? I don't get my eyebrows done. I don't know how long does that take usually to grow in.
No, the picture of the dudes were way too well manicured for it to grow that much in 6 days.
So you're on the train of he's a fall guy and they got to look alike or something like that.
It's got to be. The pictures don't really match up.
Okay.
And they did say they found a manifesto, right?
Yes.
But it wasn't written. It was an electronic manifesto. So was it his handwriting?
Well, I think it was written actually, because he references a spiral notebook which he had it written down in, and basically some of the words in that manifesto it looks like were what they have it as is indecipherable, which would make me believe that it's his handwriting. They couldn't read it, otherwise they would just put the word there.
Well, it might be him. I don't know, just the pictures, but I don't know what can you believe nowadays on social media. But what are your thoughts with the women that are I don't know who's making the memes, but what about the women posting the memes
So
about how much they love him and stuff. Man.
Historically, this is very on brand. Every serial killer that gets arrested, women find them typically very charming in the media. So even in the past with killers like, Jeffrey Dahmer or with like the Unabomber, people will write them letters. Women are going to go visit them in prison and, become pen pals, fall in love. This is just history repeating itself. So this does not surprise me that this is actually what's happening right now.
Women, you guys gotta get it together. I don't know. I hope you guys are joking.
But the other part of it is that, being that they see it almost as him standing up for something that he believes in. Yeah. And so that's also something that's very attractive. He's standing on business.
That's what they make like marches and rallies, and you can make nonprofits. You can do that if you really are passionate and believe in something. You ain't got to go get a 3D printed gun and silencer and assassinate the person.
Everybody has their own methods, for getting the job done.
There's a method to the madness, apparently. But, that's all I got to say on that topic. It is very interesting. I have no idea if that's the guy who actually really did it based on the photos that they showed versus him. So I don't understand. If I came from that much like that affluent background, like I definitely wouldn't be involved in that at all. But then there's also a story, and I don't know if this is real or not, that he had like a back surgery or something, and that he was incapable of making love to his girlfriend or other women or something. Like he couldn't be able to have sex anymore because of that. So I guess, as a guy point of view, that might drive you to murder somebody.
what else you got to do?
Maybe he's on to something. No,
that's because that also was part of the backstory that I saw as well, is that him and I think a few people in his family had some claims denied through them. And so obviously he also has an issue with how the monopoly that United Healthcare has on the healthcare market.
Oh yeah, it's for them to make money.
It's crazy.
Healthcare is expensive.
Very, very expensive. And one of the things he apparently references in his manifesto is that we have the most expensive healthcare system, but we're number 42 in the nation. In the world for our mortality rate.
Oh yeah.
So he's like, why are we paying all this money if we don't even live longer than everybody else? Or life expectancy, not mortality rate. I'm sorry. But yeah. So
everybody's diet is crap, and then you have to go to the hospital, and then we have bad health care, bad diets, all the above. I just don't. It's crazy that he's thinking that it's so unaffordable when he comes from that much money too.
Well, it's kind of like what we talked about on the last episode, is that whatever we come from, we either accept or reject it. So a lot of times when people grow up in a lot of wealth and a lot of money, they see the other side where people don't have access to the things that they do, and their whole life is dedicated to the people who don't have what they have. And so they want to go out and fight for them.
Be the little vigilante. If that's what he was doing, man, he almost got away with it.
Yeah.
He still might, innocent until proven guilty in this country. So
yeah, that's
with
what
all
they
that
say.
money. With all that money, he's got to be able to have the best lawyer possible.
Oh, absolutely.
He might be okay.
We'll may just be okay. Yeah, we'll see how that trial works out. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of eyes on it. There's going to be a lot of publicity around it. So it'll certainly be interesting to see how it turns out.
Definitely. So yeah, keep posting your memes, ladies. Do what you want to do. I mean, the kid is in shape, so I give you that. At least you're not posting like a slob, dude.
Anybody from Maryland, is usually going to look. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
I do know a couple of attractive people from Maryland. Cleon's from Maryland. That's one of them. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm only half the people he's talking about.
I'm not gonna say any other name.
Yeah. So with that being said, so that's one of the current events that we want to go over. Share us, your opinions on it. Is it a conspiracy? Is it not? Obviously, people are going to be on different sides of these things. Do you feel like that's a way to go about these things, right? If we are protesting and things aren't happening, is this the thing that makes sense to do? I don't know. You tell me.
Take it into your own hands. Be judge, jury, and executor.
And execution. Yeah. Did you see apparently what was on the bullets There were like words written on the bullets.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
And I'm
too.
like, what? I saw all the memes regarding that. At first, they were like, this is like a Riddler type of thing.
He's detailed, yeah.
Yeah.
He just got caught. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Which, to me, if I'm on a run, why would I be eating inside of a McDonald's? I would get drive-through. Why would I sit inside of there? I eat in my car if I'm on the run. So that part doesn't make sense either.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
why would you go to a bunch of places with cameras?
Well, yeah, I admit you got to eat, and he got caught in like Pennsylvania.
Yeah, something like that.
Why? It doesn't make sense to me, like, why you would sit inside of McDonald's. I can't remember the last time I even sat inside of a McDonald's.
Yeah, that is fair.
So, I don't know. I'm going with the conspiracy theorists on this one and say that he's the fall guy.
All right.
I don't think that he could do it.
So Brandon is pro fall guy here. We'll see how it.
Pro fall guy.
We'll see
on
how
this one. We'll see how it plays out, though. See if they actually find the real guy. Who knows? I don't know. But stay tuned to the next episode when we actually figure it out. But what else we need to talk about? What else is happening in our local times today?
So you actually sent me an interesting video on it looks like it was a Texas lawyer on the good old I guess it was on Instagram, but it stemmed from a TikTok video.
Yeah,
where a lawyer was talking about I think the verbiage was it is now illegal to go through somebody's phone.
Yeah.
Now, looking up the research of it, it looks like there was already an act in place that protects the privacy of electronics and communication. Mm-hmm. But obviously, it didn't really entail all the things that we have now when it was originally written.
Yeah, because that was an old bill that got passed.
Looks like, the original bill was back in 86.
Yeah,
and
so before we had cell phones and all the technology, so they probably made like a updated amendment to include phones, iPads.
Yeah, phones, iPads, any sort of tablets, watches, all of that.
Laptops, all that.
So with that being said...
they consider it a felony, right?
Yeah, apparently, yes. It is against the law. It is a felony for you to do that. So that means that obviously you can't go through your girlfriend's phone anymore.
Anymore? I would never do that in the first place.
So you're not a phone checker?
No. Here's the thing. Just like with the body count thing, it's like if my girlfriend told me that she had sex with 3 guys before me, I would still be very mad.
Okay.
I would still be upset. So it's the same thing, like same concept. Like, why would I want to go? Because if you're going to have a good-looking girlfriend, in the social media, like, people are going to be in her DMs.
Right. There's
like,
so much access to people.
Why would I want to go in there and see that? I'm just gonna make myself mad.
So you have a problem with people reaching out, even if she's not responding. You just wouldn't like it.
I wouldn't want to know about that. But yeah, I if I'm in a relationship with you, I trust you enough to not want to do that. Here's the thing: if somebody wants to cheat, they're gonna cheat. You can't control them from not doing it.
Right.
You think you can, but you really can't. So at the end of the day, they're going to do whatever they want to do. So it's my job and my responsibility as the man to create that safe environment for them to not want to do that, but also to not be with the girls that do like to do that stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many times have you had your phone going through?
Maybe just like 2 times.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh man, you're rookie in this game, man.
Yeah. I usually try and stay away from people that are going to be like that, just because like I don't want to go through your phone. You don't need to go through my phone. Like, at the end of the day, like, that's my stuff. You got to trust me. I'm going to trust you. At the end of the day, if you want to go do something, you're going to do it. And 98% of the time, another made up statistic, it's going to be brought to light. I am a firm believer, like, everything's going to be brought to light eventually. Like, the truth is going to come out eventually. So if you are hiding something, it's eventually going to come out in one way or another. And that's just my take on it. So I don't find the need to have to go through it, because I feel like if you do, you don't have that trust established in that relationship.
Right.
If you don't have trust established in a relationship, then you're doomed from there.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, I did have one incident where that happened, and almost got extorted. But
just drop extortion.
Yeah, basically that's what it was. But thankful for that law that I ain't got to worry about that again. But I just try to stay away from those kind of women in the first place
That's
that
funny.
that have the urge to want to do that. I don't have the urge to want to do that. Like whatever's in your phone, that's for you, and let's keep it that way. So.
Man, I got a few. I had a
Sure
few
you,
instances.
yeah, I'm really sure you do.
I had a few instances.
I know one of them, maybe more.
Yeah, just because this is also this is just a very interesting act. But yeah, I had a few instances where my phone was going through, some voluntarily, some involuntarily. I remember one time way back when, where I was living a little bit different, where I was involved with two young ladies at the same time. Bad thing. Don't do that.
Unless they both know.
Yeah, which they did. So basically what happened.
Unless they both know beforehand.
Well, yeah, I told the second one about the first one, and then at some point the first one found out about the second one, and we all had a conversation together. But basically, what happened here is that we set up a time, I guess, to meet at some friend's apartment or something. So it's me, these two young ladies, and then a neutral third party, in which they sat beside each other and went through each other's text messages with me. To kind
While
of
you're there.
Yeah, I was there. Well, I was there when this started, and I was like, well, I'm gonna just go take a walk while y'all doing this. So I just kind of walked around the complex and then came back in like 20 minutes.
That already sounds like a situation that I would not want to be in.
The thing is, and this is something that I've been preaching for a while back since I was, like I said, living a little bit different. I'm like, you're not really caught up unless you feel caught up, because when you feel caught up, you start to act caught up, and then things just get messy from there. I was completely calm during the whole situation. I'm like, it is what it is. So what do y'all want to do about this? Now that you've done this, do you guys feel better? How do you want to continue? How do you want to continue? The problem is girls don't like making decisions. So I realize, and it feels like manipulation now that I know it, so I don't do it anymore.
Right.
But I'm like, once I put the ball in their court, they have no idea what to do. So then we just act like nothing happened. So that was a very interesting time. Another time was I fell asleep on my phone in my Snapchat. And she came and I guess picked up my phone and then looked through the messages. And ends up calling this other young lady. And I wake up because I hear her arguing on the phone with somebody, arguing on my phone.
Oh, that's great.
So I get up and I walk over. I'm like, what are you doing? I press the end button on the call, and I'm like, what's happening right now?
The best thing, that's one of the craziest things to wake up to.
It was so absurd. And then she had a sticky note. On that sticky note, she had the other girl's address written down. And so, like, at some point, she, like, got in her car and said, I'm going to her apartment.
Got
And
nothing to do with her.
yeah, well, I'm like, this is crazy. So yeah, so I obviously got in the car with her, and we got to the complex, but she couldn't find the apartment.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, we're just gonna. So she like drives around. I kid you not, this was like crazy. She's yelling this girl's name out of the vehicle as we're riding around this complex, hoping
really
for her to
passionate.
come outside.
That's crazy.
Mind you, this was a 45-minute drive. So
You went with her?
I went with her.
Nah,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing. man.
Well, the reason why I went is really was just in case they did find each other, because I know that the physicality difference. One of them was definitely going to be on go. The other one is not really built like that, so it's not a fair fight. I'm like, if it's going to be even, y'all go ahead and do whatever it is y'all feel like y'all need to do. I'm like, she will drag you, and I need to be here to make sure that doesn't happen.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? I was just trying to be a good person.
So how did you feel when you woke up to that? Because I've had that situation. I've woken up to some scary things, you know.
Yeah, obviously.
One was the time I got arrested at AR-15 pointed
Yeah,
at my
yeah,
face.
yeah.
That was pretty crazy. I thought it was a dream. The second time I woke up was my ex-girlfriend going through my iPad.
I would have chose the AR-15.
Yeah, I would've chosen 100%. Because, boy, I tell you what, that was not a fun thing to happen. But you know, it worked out till it didn't work out.
Right. It didn't work out.
There we go. But all right, anything else we got to talk about on that?
Yeah, it's now illegal, so leave me alone.
Yeah. Have you ever went through a girl's phone?
Oh yeah, I have.
Like recently or like a long time ago?
No, back in my younger days mainly, but it's mainly because of the fact that both of us was just on some, like, we was just doing whatever. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you get caught doing something, so you decide you're gonna try and do better, and then you feel like she's now doing something, and then so you go through her phone, and then it just becomes a this, which is why either you shouldn't do it, or if you feel like you have to do it, you should get out, because it's just going to create this cycle of this back and forth thing, and
Toxic cycle, man.
Exactly. And one thing that it's funny because I just saw this video of a comedian. I wish I knew his name, but what he said was, there's always a misunderstanding in somebody's phone. So
Yeah, that's why I never go through it.
And so that's my thing, because there was a time where I had my phone going through, one of the many times, and there was nothing in there recent, but she finds this text message thread between me and some girl from like 2 to 3 years prior to me being involved with her, and was upset about that. I'm like, why am I arguing with you about something that happened before I was even involved with you?
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing here? So now I'm like, I'm just not really, that's the reason I'm not really interested in it. I'm like, I don't want you going through my phone, because you're going to find whatever that you're looking for, you're going to find it.
Exactly. You're going to find something. That's why I never want to go, I'll never go to someone's phone. There's no point. If that's the kind of person that you are, it's going to come to light eventually. I'm a firm believer in that. And then at that point, we'll cross that bridge when it gets here, and then, we'll go our separate ways.
You're right.
Other than that, nah, because you're going to find something.
You are always 100% going to find something you don't like.
There's going to be something. There's going to be some dude flirting with her, a coworker flirting with her, her boss something. It could be something friendly. Then you just take it the wrong way, and now you're mad at her, and it's like, nah.
Yeah.
Keep me out of that stuff. But to get into today's topic, I know we spent a little time ranting on that kind of stuff. But, it's always interesting what's going on in the world. We want to talk about it. But to get into today's topic, it is going to be relationship management, part 3.
Part 3.
And your relationship with yourself. And I know when we did that blind rating, I rated this like number 4 out of top 5. But
yeah, man.
Definitely your relationship with God is most important. But I think that your relationship with yourself is second most important.
Okay.
And reason being is there's a lot, it takes us a long time to really find out who we are as an individual and have self-acceptance. Or I know it did for me, and if it did for me, then I know it does for a lot of people, because a lot of people look at me and they're like, how do you have it all together? Like, how do you bounce back from things so fast? I'm like, bro, I don't know what you're talking about.
You have no idea what's going on over here.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I literally had one of my buddies on Instagram one time messaged me. He's like, how do you bounce back from things so fast? He's like, I'm like, I don't know. It's not that fast, man.
Right.
I put one foot in front of the other, just like you, every single day.
Right.
And I got to work to do it. And it's been a lifelong process to really accept who I am, my height, and who I am as an individual. So I think that is definitely number 2 on the list.
Right.
What are your thoughts on your relationship with yourself? Like, what do most people struggle with the most when it comes to that?
I think number 1, identity, and number 2, their image. I think a lot of people, like you said, especially with the acceptance things, people have a hard time accepting exactly what they are and then being confident in that. I'm a firm believer in that you can't be confident in what you are unsure of. It's just essentially what it is. So like you said, height, for instance, right? So like my thing, obviously, neither one of us are that tall. And so once I kind of accept, I'm like, this is what I am. I'm 5'7" you know what I'm saying? I'm a 7 on my best day when I'm suit and tied up with a fresh cut. You know what I'm saying? That's what I am, but I'm confident in that now.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm okay with this is what it's going to be. And so now I choose to go through life with the aspect of I'm good. This is what I am, and I'm fine with that. And so go ahead.
Yeah, how do people build self-confidence in themselves?
So number 1 probably is you got to look yourself in the mirror, figure out, number 1, what your issues are with yourself. Lay it out on the table. What issues do I have with myself? And number 1, is this thing controllable or is it out of my control? And once you decipher what those things are, you accept the things that you cannot control. I cannot control that I am this height. My parents are short. That's just is what it is. But like, we talked about our relationship with food. if you don't like the way that your body looks, right, there's something that you can go do about that, right? If you don't like where you're at because of the amount of money you're making, something you can go do about that. If you don't like basically that you have bad habits and that you have a bad routine and that you can't seem to get anything steady in your life, that's something you can do about. So I think the best way to get that in line is to figure out what things do you have an issue with that are in your control and what things are out of your control. Accept the things that are not in your control and do something about the other things. And that's going to help you build more confidence in yourself. And it also builds an accountability with yourself.
So 100%. And to talk on accountability 1 second, like having that self-reflection of those things that you can't control and can't control is super important. But also there's like a saying that goes around with creating more confidence with yourself. So let's say, for example, if you told me that we're going to work out every day next week and you showed up one time with me, am I going to think that you're a reliable person when it comes to working out, or am I going to think that you're unreliable?
Well, you certainly shouldn't think I'm reliable.
You're
at that
unreliable.
point.
So it goes the same way when you're having those conversations with yourself, with that other voice in your head.
Right.
If you tell yourself you're going to do something and then you don't do it, it's just like if a friend told you they're going to do something and then they don't do it.
Right.
You start to see them as an unreliable person. So that's how you're seeing yourself subconsciously when you say you're going to do one thing and then you don't do it.
Right.
So my tips on that is to start small. Don't try and bite off more than you can chew. A lot of people say, like, set goals so astronomical. Yes, you should have a vision that is bigger than you can believe right now at your current space.
Right.
But you should be able to set tasks that you can accomplish, because each little task that you set up to do, you're going to build more and more confidence with yourself. And confidence is energy. It's attractive. The more confidence that you have, the more people can feel it and radiate off that energy.
Right.
So another tip, that something that I don't do anymore, because I feel like I feel like now at this time in my life, like I'm a pretty confident person in that I am very self-accepting of the person that I am, and I know where I'm going. It took a long time.
Right.
And I still don't know exactly where I'm going, but I know I'm going to get there. Right. So it's like there's still, like, I'm still learning about myself. It's a journey. There is a never-ending journey. There is no finish line. I was going to say something, then it literally lost my train of thought on where I was going with that other thing, because then I talk about something else. But what was the other thing? God, now I can't even remember.
So while you're trying to ponder that, how important is your inner dialogue with yourself?
So that's another good one. So if you read the book that I've recommended like 3 times, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, the very first chapter is what captivated me, because it says, the very first chapter is titled Your Inner Roommate. So everybody has that voice in their head.
Right.
You talk to yourself more than you talk to anybody in your contact list.
By far.
Instagram, no matter what. You're in your own head more than anybody else is. So what it states is basically that voice that you hear is not you. That is your roommate. So it's going to tell you a lot of things like, oh, I can't meditate. I can't do a mindfulness practice. I don't have time to work out fully. I can't do this right now.
Right.
I need to put it off. That's what it's supposed to do.
Right.
But that voice that you hear is not you. And the more self-aware you can be and become, the more you understand that just because you hear it in here doesn't mean that it's true. So self-talk is super important as well. There's also, this is what I was talking about, what I used to do. There we go. The best friend voice. So a good tactic to help with your inner dialogue and that positive self-talk is to do a best friend voice. So it's basically just a voice memo that you record on your phone at the very end of the day. And you basically go over all the small tasks that you accomplished. So like if I was doing it today, for example, like I would say, okay, hey, Brandon, you had a great day today. You woke up, you meditated, you prayed, you read. You didn't work out, but it's okay. You'll work out tomorrow. You were able to upload your podcast episode, record a podcast, and then you go to work tonight. Like, you say all the positive things that you accomplished in that day, no matter how, I also hit my macros. Like, no matter how small it may be, but like right off the top of my head, I think that I didn't do anything productive today because I slept a lot. I caught up on sleep. But just going over, I'm like, oh, wow, that was like 6 things that I literally accomplished today. And now that's more confidence that I'm building with myself.
Right.
Instead of not having this conversation and not reflecting on my day. So if you're having a problem with that inner dialogue and that self-talk, try that best friend voice memo and keep consistent at it. And then let me know how you feel. All right. What's your thoughts on that one?
Super important. So, funny enough, before we started on this series, I did a TikTok on the TikTok app.
Cleon loves TikTok.
I don't love it, but it is a platform for reaching the people, and that's what I'm here for. One of the questions that I asked is, basically what I said was, relationship. Basically, your relationship with yourself is important. And so the question that I asked was, if I talk to you the way that you talk to you, would you hit me? Yes or no? And when you talk to a lot of people, you get sometimes they'll say the things that they say in their head out loud. And they'll say, oh, I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. Oh, I just can't get this. I'm never going to be able to do this. And that basically, when I hear something like that, I'm like, that's how you talk to yourself on the regular. And if that's the case, you're right. You are never going to be able to do these things. I don't think you're dumb or stupid, but you think that.
Right. And whatever you think is definitely most important.
Exactly. And that's how you
That's the reoccurring story that you keep telling yourself every single day. So that's why a lot of times you see those positive quotes like, whatever you think you can do or can't, you're right.
Exactly.
Because everything starts in the mind.
Everything.
So it's just, if you can control the real estate up here, like you can literally control your entire life. But it starts with gaining confidence with yourself. So completing the small tasks, doing, like we talked about in the last episode, the mind, body, spirit, having a morning routine that keeps you grounded. Like, it starts in, I was reading another book, the one about relationships by the Angry Therapist, John Kim. And he was saying basically how mindfulness changed his life and changed the way that he viewed himself, which how you view yourself affects how you show up in your other relationships.
Right.
So
Makes
how
sense.
you show up in your relationship with your family, your relationship with your friends, your relationships with your significant other. And mindfulness doesn't have to be meditation, because a lot of times I tell people, hey, like, you should start meditating. And I tell you what, one of the biggest things I feel like that has changed my life has been meditation. Because before meditation and learning mindfulness, I wasn't making a lot of money. So it's like, what you gotta, if you're not where you want to be, you gotta figure out like what you need to change. And then once you get to where you want to be, you have to keep doing the things that got you there.
Exactly.
I had the problem of getting to where I wanted to be
And then stopping.
and getting a little stagnant, getting lazy, and then getting out of my morning routine and getting out of the things that made me me. You got to make sure that you keep doing those things. So having a good morning routine with mindfulness, it could be meditation, prayer, yoga, doing the 5 senses. There's like a little trick to do like a 5 senses to keep you present in the moment. Basically, so that way, a lot of times we just get so anxious, and we're anxious because we're thinking about what the future holds, or we're depressed because we're thinking about what happened in the past.
Right.
You can't change anything, except you can only be in your present where you are now.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? You can't change what happened in the past. You don't control what happens in the future. You can only control what you do in the now.
Correct.
Right here. And another good tip or trick thing to do is the 5 senses. So basically, you'll want to do your vision, taste, hearing, smell. So it's a mindfulness practice. The first thing you'll do is you'll look at three items. So you'll look at 3 items. You'll look at the detail. You'll look at them up close. You'll look at the texture of them, and just focus on the 3 items. So you're getting your visual done. Focus on it. It helps you focus in the present.
Right.
Second thing that you'll do, you'll close your eyes. You'll hear all the sounds around you. So whether it be loud or not loud, whether it be just buzzing or not buzzing, just sit in silence and listen. Focus on the sounds around you, far away sounds and close up sounds. And then the next thing you'll do, keep your eyes closed. You'll focus on the scents. What are you smelling? And then after that, what else am I missing? You do taste, so
Right.
just focus on the taste in your mouth, lick your lips, whatever it may be. If you just had coffee, like focus on that taste. And I know I'm missing another one, but basically that's the whole thing to do. It just helps you stay more in the present. And doing things like mindfulness and meditation, if you are the person that says, "Oh, that's not for me, I can't sit still,"
Right.
then you're probably the person that needs to sit
Absolutely.
still because you're probably too anxious of thinking about the future. And you can always start small. Like
Right.
you don't have to start with 15 minutes or 10 minutes. Like start small.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing is to do it and do it consistently.
Right.
And anytime I feel like I'm getting like too anxious, because we all get that way, and we had the episode talking about anxiety, it's a reminder for you and myself to just slow down,
Right.
stop, be present in the moment. Insight Timer is the app that I use for meditation. There's a free version of it, so you guys get on that, and it helps you track. It helps keep your streak, so like you can see it every
Right.
single day, every single day that you do it. It keeps your streak alive, so that way you can keep track of it better.
Right.
So I don't know where else I was going with it.
Yeah. So
There's a lot of information I have.
A lot of information.
Like a lot of like ideas that I have on this topic. It's just they don't just always come out at once.
Right.
It's like here we go, here. There's a lot of information, but the most important thing with your relationship with yourself is to, number one, build confidence, and number two, be grounded.
Right.
And you're only going to be grounded if you're doing mindfulness techniques. And if you think that it's not for you, read the book Stress Less, or listen to the audiobook Stress Less, Accomplish More by Emily Fletcher. And if you're a big science nerd, that's going to give you all the scientific information on why it's for you, and give you a whole bunch of testimonies of people who are like, it's not for me, I can't do it. Once you start doing it, it's going to change your life. Once you can implement, just like we were talking about in last episode, how I was like, I haven't been reading, just started implementing reading, and that's been a game changer. Now I'm like excited to wake up just to read now, because I'm getting it all done in the morning.
what a nerd.
Yeah. I'm getting it all done in the morning. So
Right.
getting that mind, body, spirit done in the morning, and it feels so much better to just knock that out of the way. And it helps you start your day way more grounded. Like
Right.
I'm not going to let anything affect me, because my whole goal is to stay grounded.
Yeah. So going kind of piggybacking off of that, how you start your day, super important with going into these things. So I'm very into establishing baselines, and I'm going to say baselines a lot throughout all these episodes whenever we're talking about these things. But establishing a baseline as far as your relationship with yourself is important, especially on a day to day. So I have this thing where that I pretty much started saying way back in like when I think I first graduated high school. People would ask me, "Hey, Cleon, how you doing?" I would say, "Hey, every day is a good day." And so that's how I basically live my life, and that's what my baseline is. What I kind of convinced myself is that if I decide to start with today is going to be that my expectation is today is going to be a good day, it's a lot harder for me to have a bad day. So it's kind of like with that mindset on Sundays when you're going into Mondays, like, oh, I hate Mondays. Right. So you wake up on a Monday, you're already dreading the day. And that's where your baseline is. Your baseline is, I don't want to be here. So the smallest thing now takes that day from bad to significantly worse. Wow, I don't have a lisp. I don't know where that came from. To significantly worse. I've decided that my day is going to be good. That's where I'm starting at. So minor inconveniences, thankfully, don't make my day bad, because I've already decided beforehand that it's going to be good. So it's one of those methods that I kind of trick myself into that. So that way I keep myself on a path of basically positivity throughout the way that I work. So my mind gets to be that, my body responds to that as well. In that podcast that you sent me, Dr. Joe Dispenza, the title of How to Become the Creator of Your Life and Attract Anything. So
that's from the School of Greatness.
The School of Greatness.
If you guys want to look that up.
Yeah. So he references in that about how when you start speaking things and start doing things a little bit differently than what you're typically doing, it changes your biology.
Yeah.
So you do this for a certain amount of time, and essentially your body starts to react to that, and suddenly you're essentially a whole new person.
Right, because he was saying in there, your personality is your personal reality.
Right.
And it can be changed.
Exactly. So once you basically decide to kind of make that determination, you'll notice a difference. It's kind of like really personal example when you had me start working at the club. I don't like clubs. I don't care for them, but I'm like, hey, I need the extra money. But when I first started, I'm like, I'm dreading this. So before going in there, I'm tired. The day after, I'm tired. I'm groggy. I'm down all day. I'm like, I just don't want to do it, but I'm gonna go do it because I want the money. And then I'm like, this is just not how I live every other day of my life. Why am I deciding that this is the thing that I'm gonna not look forward to? So flipping a switch on that, I now have more energy. Funny enough, throughout these days, I'm really getting less sleep than I was at that point.
Yeah, 100%.
But I have more energy. I feel better. I'm able to obviously go through my regular days, do all my workouts, do all my music, any sort of content that I'm doing on a daily basis, and I feel good about it.
That's another thing too that is like that helps you stay out of depression is filling up your calendar. It's the bit like everyone you're going to be tired and like regardless, but you don't want to tell yourself you're tired. You want to just say, hey, I need more energy. What can I do to get more energy? Do some jumping jacks, do a quick workout, drink 2 energy drinks back to back, whatever you need to do. Don't drink 2. I can do that.
It's crazy.
I have a crazy high caffeine tolerance. But drink an energy drink, whatever you need to do. Don't say I'm tired. Don't tell yourself you're tired. Just tell yourself, hey, I need more energy. And what I found, because this happened in my life, and you know me for a long time. Like I'll go through these phases of where I'm like, go, and then I'll go through phases where I'm just like, screw everything.
I don't want to do anything.
I'm comfortable. I'm content. I don't want to do nothing. And what I found is that no matter what I decide to do, is I'm going to be tired no matter what. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to be lazy and have all this blank space in my schedule, I'm still going to be tired.
Exactly.
The same way as if I work every single day. I'm still the same. I'm still going to be tired.
Right.
So all I'm thinking is now is like, hey, let me fill my schedule as much as possible with all the different projects and work that I have going on. And then if I get tired, I'll just take a 30-minute binaural beats nap, which is what we talk about on on the last episode baby. As well. And then it's just like finding ways to tell myself, and I have to constantly remind myself with the tired thing because I don't know why, but I'm always tired. But no, I just always need energy.
Right.
That's all it is. I always need to do things that give me more energy. And that's all you need to keep telling yourself is those positive I don't want to even call it affirmations because affirmations have like such a cliche name, but that positive self-talk to where like you don't want to talk to yourself negatively because like you talk to your friends that way, you talk to your mother that way, like why the hell are you talking to yourself that way? Like you talking to yourself the most out of anybody else. Like have some grace on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Do the little things that build confidence with yourself and earn that confidence, and then it's just going to show in all the other aspects and areas of your life.
So let me ask you this question here because it ties into kind of what you're saying here. So how do you distinguish between self-improvement and self-criticism?
How do you distinguish?
Yes, between those two. So in your self-talk, right, how do you distinguish between self-improvement and basically you're talking to yourself from a aspect of being better versus criticizing yourself?
So I think this is tough for everybody because everybody is their own worst critic. And especially for me, it's like I'm in my head so much. It's like when especially earlier on, like in my early to mid 20s, it's like, what am I doing? Am I doing this right? Do I need to do something else? I would be afraid to do things like even like in insurance sales, like I would get the jitters to not want to do a presentation. Afraid of rejection.
I just
like
leave
that.
a house
Because I didn't have that confidence in myself.
Right.
So I kept having that like negative self-talk with myself. And it just comes to a point to where you just have to keep working on yourself. You have to earn that right with yourself. You have to earn the confidence with yourself. And how do you earn it? Just like we were talking, is doing the little things, like taking off the task, doing your best friend voice, having a solid morning routine, doing personal development, building your body, building your mind, building your spirit, being grounded. Like doing all those little things is going to make you a more confident person. So that way, when that negative talk comes, and everyone's going to have it, when that negative talk comes, I know it's not me. They'll be like, oh, well, like you did that incorrectly, or like you suck at that, or like one thing I hate is like technology moves so fast,
right?
And it's like there's so much to learn, and I'm like, dang, like you're not a technology person, you know. That's what I tell myself,
right?
But it's like, no. I'm going to learn everything because I have big goals and big aspirations. Like, no, that's the voice that's in my head telling me that. No, that's incorrect.
Yeah.
So that voice is still always going to be there, but you get rid of it and you quiet it down, the more confidence you build with yourself by doing those things.
Yeah, I think also changing the verbiage in which you talk to yourself. So instead of saying something like I'm stupid, you can say something like I can learn more on this subject. Right? Instead of saying something like I'm out of shape, like, hey, if I get a consistent routine, I can be to where I am. Almost replacing your negative self-talk with action statements to basically put yourself in a position where that criticism no longer applies to you.
And you talking about action. I just got to say, motion creates emotion.
Right.
So you're not going to gain this confidence unless you take action.
Absolutely.
So I just had to say that word got me.
Yeah, results are the biggest. I hardly believe in motivation because it's an emotional response, and emotions are fickle, but results are always, to me, the best form of you. It's going to be the best way to get you to do more of what you want to do, basically. So you go to work and you get paid, you're going to want to go to work, right? If you went to work and didn't get paid, you would be, I'm not showing up here anymore. It's the same thing. Right. What's the point? So it's the
Unless it's something you're passionate about.
Sure.
Then you find a way.
Yeah. So, but basically it's kind of like that same thing with showing up in your everyday life. So when you do things and start to see the results, and sometimes those results are going to come slower than others. So especially if you're on a workout journey. Those things do not happen overnight. But focusing on the little improvements from day to day, and make sure you're looking for those things. But seeing those little improvements are going to make you want to do more and more and more and more and more and more of those things.
Got a question for you.
Okay.
What does loving yourself really mean? You know, beyond the popular catchphrase that we say, everyone's like, "Oh, love yourself." You know, Justin Bieber got a whole song about, love yourself. But like, what does that actually mean and look like?
I think loving yourself, apart from all the flowers and rainbows, is accountability. I think I'm from the school of tough love, where you should be able to sit down with yourself like you would maybe one of your friends or one of your partners or whatever it is, to say, hey, I love you, so I'm going to tell you this. This is where you need to improve at, and I'm going to hold you accountable. But in this case, you holding you accountable, basically. I think loving yourself is doing the things that you're setting out to do, doing the things that you're telling yourself that you're going to do, because it's just like in your regular relationship with your partner. If your partner is telling you that they're going to do things and they don't do them, you're going to feel like they don't respect you, and you're going to feel like they don't love you. So the same thing with
doing
yourself.
It to yourself. Yeah, you're going to not respect yourself and not love yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So imagine
that's the biggest thing for real.
Exactly. So you're like if you're in an emotionally abusive relationship or a verbally abusive relationship, if your partner talked to you the way that you talk to you, would you call them abusive? Would you say that they're verbally abusive to you?
Yeah, and also part of self-love is setting those healthy boundaries early, not only with yourself, but with your relationship, the relationships around you as well.
Exactly.
Like, the less you love yourself and the more insecure and the worse your relationship is with yourself, the more you're going to let people run over you, walk through you. And that happened to me early on, like in my life, is because I was so codependent on other people and such a people pleaser. And all those things, I'm just trying to do things to make other people happy, or say things that I think that they want to hear, or do things that I think that they want to hear, and just be that person that like is the happy-go-lucky person all the time, and I make everybody around me feel that way as well. But what happens is you have no boundaries. That's not healthy. You let people walk all over you, take advantage of you, and at the end of the day, you're the one that you have to live with. They don't have to live with you. They don't ever have to talk to you or speak to you again. You're the only one that has to live with yourself at the end of the day. So you have to put yourself first, and that's the biggest thing I think that self-love is like putting yourself first, treating yourself like you would your significant other, taking yourself out on a solo date, doing the things that you say you're going to do is the most important. But not only that, it is making sure that you are personally developing yourself. If you're not growing, you're dying. Point blank, period. There is no staying stagnant. You either grow or you die. And what I mean by that, not just a gym term, is your mind. What you're doing with your mind, what you're doing with your spirituality, your mindfulness, reading, working out, prayer, meditation, being grounded, staying with yourself, and just being aware of your triggers, who you are, in how to continuously improve. Like, you have to continuously improve. If you're not,
Right.
you're going to keep dying.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off of what you were saying regarding, especially the boundaries portion of it. The blurrier your boundaries are with yourself, the more muddy they're going to be when it comes to your relationships with other people. So if you, like you said, it's kind of like they said, the way you do one thing is a lot of time the way you do everything, right? So if you allow yourself to get away with certain things, you're going to allow other people to get away with those things as well. I also think that obviously knowing these things is important. You know, like the saying says, knowledge is power. I'm a firm believer in knowledge plus action is power, because I think you can know all the things that you want, but if you do nothing with that information, it doesn't benefit you to sit on it. So I think, and I think that's probably the next step when it comes to loving yourself as well, is that you know what's okay and what's not okay. The reason how do I know you know that is because when you allow other people to treat you a certain way, you go home and you cry about it. You're upset with yourself about it. So you know it's wrong. You knew it was wrong while it was happening. However, you still allowed yourself to go through it. So knowing is only half the battle. You now have to do something about it.
100%. You got to take action. This is good because this kind of related to me. Like, how do you manage your inner critic and perfectionism?
Manage it. It's so SMART goals, I think, is super, super important. I forgot what the acronym stands for, right? It's something measurable, attainable, something else. SMART goals. I'll get that for you guys. But basically managing that with yourself and setting things up that are attainable, but they do make you work for it.
Right, because a lot of times with like perfectionists and having that mentality is people don't take action because it's not perfect or because they don't know enough information. But if you listen to any or a lot of huge entrepreneurs, is they just like, especially Jesse Itzler, like they just take action and then they figure it out as they go.
Yeah, let's just try it.
I used to be the worst because I'm like, oh no, it's not perfect. I'm so worried about other people's opinions, but the only really the only person's opinion that matters is myself. So you take action and you figure it out along the way. Newsflash, nobody in this world knows, like, they don't have all the answers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody really knows everything. Everybody's figuring it out as they go. So just take action, especially if you have that little voice, your little roommate in their head saying, hey, it's not perfect yet, don't post that. Hey, it's not perfect yet, don't do that. No, just jump in. Just like we jumped into the podcast. It took 3-4 weeks to actually get one episode up. It's like, oh, no, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to learn this, we got to learn this. And then we still learn as we go.
Yeah.
So take action, jump into it, and simple as that.
Yeah, it's
if
like
you're a perfectionist.
it's never going to be perfect. Unfortunately, there's always going to be something to fix. There's going to be something that you don't like. There's going to be something to tweak on every single.
And that's the beauty of it. Nobody's perfect.
Exactly.
Nobody else is.
It also gives you something more to strive for, right? Something else to work on, because it's like, yeah, okay, so this was a problem last time. We fixed that problem, but now we got to look at this, and that's just the way that life goes.
Nothing's perfect. Even the most winning Super Bowl quarterback of all time has lost too.
Shout out my guy TB, baby. Shout out to him.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's perfect. So I mean, I guess you can say MJ's finals record.
I guess his finals record.
But
man,
he got swept a couple times in the first round.
Come on now, man.
We don't need to talk about that.
But people don't like talking about it. It's fine. We're not gonna get into this whole.
So, all right. But to close off here, you got anything else you want to talk about? Anything else, or you just want to close it out?
Your relationship with yourself. I guess I want to ask you, because obviously you've been on a personal development journey for quite some times. What do you feel like has been the most valuable thing for you during this? Because let's say, how long ago did you decide to get your life together? And then upon that journey, what did you feel like is the most important thing that you've taken away from that portion?
Well, I think the most important thing is, you just said it, is that understanding that it really is a journey, you know, and this started, you know, subconsciously for me from high school football, you know what I'm saying? And then that led me to get into community college student government, then to run for a state president at a community college state government level, and to do all these little things for personal and self-development. And then that led me to go to USF, and then, you know, develop all those bad drinking habits, then outgrow those things. And then But going to USF led me to find insurance. And then finding insurance led us to Simon. And
Right.
Simon preached mind, body, spirit.
Right.
So then it's like, okay, hey, now I see a career where people are making a lot of money and they're preaching like this personal journey, this personal development, this self-empowerment type concept
Right.
of build your body, build your mind, build your spirit, regardless of how you feel. And nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I fall off of it all the time. You know what I'm saying? But it's not about how many times you fall off. It's about how many times you can get back up and get to it again. So understanding that it is just that, a journey.
Right.
And you're never going to reach the end. And
Until it's the end.
It's as simple as that. You're going to continuously get better and then just reflect on it.
Right.
Like reflecting on it over the years, like now being 31, like I see the way that I acted at like 26. A lot of the things that I did was immature, but that just came out of my poor relationship I had with myself. And the better you build that relationship with yourself, the more confidence you build in yourself, the better off all the relationships around you are going to be.
Right.
Like you should never be in the same place as you were 6 months ago, a year ago. Like you always have to continuously focus on your personal development journey, building that relationship with yourself, going over the tips and tricks that we went over in this episode, implementing them, small steps, keep moving forward, and leave it at that, and then reflect on it.
There you go.
All right?
Yeah.
What's your final thoughts?
I think when it comes to your relationship with yourself, one of the most important things is understanding your AOIs, your areas of improvement. So this is something that it's funny at my job now. When I do interview people, I ask them, what do you feel like are your best qualities, and what do you feel like are your areas of improvement? Obviously, it's an interview; they're going to give you BS answers, but in your real life, understanding exactly what those things are. Because I think knowing what you're good at is super, super important. Knowing where you need to improve at is equally, if not more important.
100%.
So like for me, in my personal development journey, obviously getting into a consistent routine, because obviously going through my childhood all the way up to college, I had a consistent routine. It was wake up, go to school, whatever sports practice, homework, bed, wake up and do the same
again,
thing.
yeah.
So there was a point when I got to college, because I got hurt in high school, so I couldn't play the college sport that I wanted to, which was football. And so that, number one, knocked me out of a routine. So now I'm not in the gym on that part of it as consistently as I am. And then I tore my ACL and meniscus playing flag football. Bro, that is so embarrassing, because why was you
did not
diving
think
at my
that
knee?
way.
Anyway,
that's not fun.
that's so aggravating. But basically, when that took me out of commission, I'm now basically the first 18 years of my life, I have this structure that I was in. And these things knocked me out of that. And so when I basically did not have that aspect of my life anymore, the whole other structure of everything else kind of started to fall apart too. So at that
Because
point,
discipline is a muscle that needs to be exercised, and that's what I learned too. Because when I played football, I was like, "Oh, I'm the most disciplined person." I thought I'd be disciplined forever.
Exactly.
But then you stop being disciplined, you lose it.
Exactly.
So just like anything, it's a muscle you got to keep on.
you got to
keep on.
keep on.
If you're not growing, you're dying. And that's
Exactly.
what happens if you don't continuously do these things, like you're saying. For sure.
Exactly. So then basically my foundation crumbles. And so now that's when I ended up getting out of shape for the first time. My grades ended up super bad. I'm just doing whatever because basically I didn't have that structure anymore. So then there was a point where I had that when I moved back here to Florida, obviously I'm keen on it. I'm like, okay, so I'm good with this. I'm typically a fairly disciplined person. I don't do a bunch of stupid things in my regular life. When it comes to girls and stuff like that, I didn't make all the best decisions, but I understood that that's where my area of improvement was. So I got myself back on track, at least physically, and then understood that in terms of my decision making from day to day life is where I needed to improve at. So I think understanding where your areas of improvement are, knowing what you're good at, knowing what, and basically being able to, you have to be real with yourself to be able to acknowledge those things. Some people don't like to tell themselves what they're bad at,
Yeah.
because I don't know, maybe it makes it too real for them. Maybe because when you acknowledge the problem, you now feel like you have to do something about it, and you're not ready to do something about it. I don't know, whatever the case
Usually,
is.
yeah, usually that's the case.
That's usually
Yeah.
what it is.
You don't want to take action, so you just try. To
You
throw
just
it
try
under
to
the
ignore
rug.
it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like I see something on the floor. I'm going to act like I don't see it because if I look at it, it's going to bother me. And now I'm going to go want to pick it up. But don't ignore it. Do something about it. Improve in your areas of improvement and make yourself the best version of yourself that you have ever been. But then also strive to be the best version of yourself that you can ever be.